Come on in, come on in. Welcome into this Sunday reset, right? Where we plan your week on LinkedIn. I've had all sorts of tech issues, so there's no camera today because the camera just doesn't want to play ball. If you were around in the Periscope days, you will know about dark scopes, right? Which is where you would go live and not have your camera on. Let me know if you were around in the Periscope days and you maybe attended a dark scope. Let's just say we're cycling back to, gosh, when was this? 2015? Somewhere around there. So if you're on, please say hi so I know that you can hear me. You won't be able to see me, but you will see my slides when I pull them up. So yeah, this is a bit unusual, a bit strange, but I was determined that I was not going to let the tech undermine my efforts. And this is the thing, right? Look out for me because I'll just pop up live just because I've decided I'm going to go live. If you are in the LinkedIn Strategy Lab and you are hopping in, these sessions generally took place on a Monday evening. However, I decided that I would start to host them on a Sunday because for me, the week starts on Sunday. So it just makes sense to start to plan your week at the beginning of the week. So let me know if you're on. I can see I am definitely on LinkedIn. I'm going to just check the other platforms. I'm going to turn the volume down so we don't get an echo. And once I've done that, I'm just going to jump into the content because Married at First Sight reunion is on, right? And I'm not missing that. Give me a sec, guys. I'm just checking if I am live. Okay, I can see that the live is live. All right, amazing. I'm going to get going. So, as I've said, today is all about Sundays in general, right? They're all about planning your week ahead. And this one's quite juicy. This one's quite weighty in terms of content, in terms of what I want to share with you. And I don't plan to be here for very long. Hey, Andrea, good to see you. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. No camera today. I literally had to like restart my machine minutes before going live because everything just crashed and fell apart. So no camera. That just for some reason won't turn on. I was saying at the beginning, this is like, I don't know if you were around in Periscope days, but this is like what they used to call dark scopes where there was no camera. So we're having a dark scope today. Let me know if you can hear me. That would be helpful before I jump into the content. Let me know if you can hear me. But I'm talking about your content on LinkedIn in light of the update to the algorithm 360 brew. We're going in on content today and I'm not going to be on for long because I said half an hour and yeah, your girl gets going. You can hear me loud and clear. Amazing. Good to see you on. All right, so if you were here last week, and you were here last week, Andrea, anyone else that's on that I can't see, if you were here last week, right, we were speaking about your profile. In the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, we operate a simple 4-step pathway, and that looks like this, right? So your profile is step 1, your content is step 2, pipeline step 3, and client step 4. We are currently hanging out in step 2, which is all about your content, right? So, and it's content in light of the new algorithm update. Let me know if you guys have heard of it before. A lot of people are just feeling the impacts of it and not actually knowing why and what is happening. I delivered a masterclass in the LinkedIn Strategy Lab on 360 Brew, and the feedback has incredibly been just amazing. It's been so good. People are understanding why their content stopped working. They're understanding what needs to change, and what they're going to do as a result of what they've learned, right? So today we're not talking about theory, we're talking about action. We're going to be building a content plan for your week, right? That actually works with this new algorithm. So if you are excited about that, let me know. As I said, I'm not going to be on for long. My aim is to get through the content in the next 15 minutes. Let's see if I can do it, right? Because I want to go and watch Married at First Sight reunion. How many of you watched Married at First Sight? Right, let's get into it. So let's get into it. Where am I clicking? Where am I clicking? I've got so many things open. Okay, there we are. I just needed to hover over the slide. Right, first and foremost, right, we cannot do everything. And for the most part, that is exactly what we try to do. We want to put our Superwoman, Superman cape on. On LinkedIn, it is very noisy, and that is the old way, right? So we're going for hooks, we're thinking about the algorithm, we've got quotes, we've got engagement pods perhaps that we're a part of, we're trying to sell, we're using hashtags, we're doing all the things. It's noisy, and that is completely the old way, right? There are so many things that we used to do that are no longer working. And what I'm encouraging is for us to focus. That's what I'm teaching people in the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. And that's what I need for you to take away here today. It is about focusing, because the truth is we cannot do it all. We can't fix our profile, post content, engage, do the events, do the engagement pods, all the things, all at the same time without burning out, right? So what I need for us to do this week, we are picking a lane, and the lane is content. We're focusing on our content, right? Because as I've said, we can't do it all. With this new algorithm, what I need for us to move away from is the storytelling, right? That was big. Let's tell stories. And as lovely as stories are, somebody cannot go away and take action or implement. Yeah, they might be inspired, but what we want is for people to go away and get a quick win, right? Based on what you have taught them. So in our content, we're aiming to be almost like a professor on our particular topic, on our niche, our domain, our area of expertise, because LinkedIn is rewarding those who are the best teachers now, right? Who are teaching, upskilling, and helping people to get results. So meet 360 Brew. As I said, if you have not come across the term, you more than likely have felt the impacts of it, right? And 360 Brew is LinkedIn's new algorithm that's AI based, right? And it operates like completely differently to how we encountered the algorithm previously. So this algorithm is literally reading everything, all of your content, all of your current content, your previous content, your engagements, the comments that you leave, your profile, all of the various sections in your profile, all of it is being read. It's looking for meaning as a human would read something. So, as I've said, it's trying to pull context and understand who you are and what you do so it knows where to position you. Right? There's three things that I need you to know, right? So it's reading, first of all, meaning, right? So it's looking at the actual words in your content, not just we think, oh, whack a few hashtags and we'll be good. No, hashtags are not working anymore. They are not working. Hey, my friend, good evening. Welcome in. My camera's not working today. So, yeah, it's just slides. Good to see you. Welcome in all the way from Bangladesh. Lovely to have you. Good evening. I'm going to go for Ife because I'll butcher it otherwise. Good to have you. Thank you for jumping in. I'm talking about your content on LinkedIn this week. I need for you to plan it in light of the changes to the LinkedIn algorithm. So the three things I need you to know, as I've said, the algorithm is reading your content and is looking for meaning. It is rewarding those whose content is relevant to the people who you're trying to get in front of. Your content has to be what's the word, compelling. It has to be positioned in such a way that they understand who needs to receive this piece of content. It also needs to match your profile and your expertise, because if your headline is talking about sales, if your headline is talking about a particular thing, but your content, you've just woken up and decided you're going to talk about what you did with your grandkids at the weekend, unfortunately, LinkedIn is going to suppress that piece of content because it doesn't understand who you are or who they should put you in front of. Taking a quick sip because I could feel a little cough coming up, right? The second thing that I need for you to know is that it is looking at how long somebody, they call it dwell, so dwell time. So it's tracking time. It's watching to see how long people stay on your content. It's tracking how long somebody is dwelling around what you have to say. Yinka, good to see you. Good evening. Hey. Let me know, were you around in Periscope days? My camera's not working, so I'm doing what they call back in 2015 a dark scope, which is literally you just didn't have your camera on. But glad to see you, right? So this is what the algorithm, these are the three things primarily that I'm going to start with anyway that I need for you to know. So this isn't the old algorithm where you could game the system, right? This one actually reads like a human would, right? So it's looking at the context, it's looking at what you spoke about last week, and it's making a decision, holistically, your profile, your comments, your content, making a decision as to who it will put you in front of, or whether it will put you in front of anybody. Because if you're hopping between topics, if you are not consistent in what you're talking about, it will just suppress your content. Chantel, how are you, lovely? Good to see you. Welcome in. Good to see you on this late Sunday evening. I love that people are like on LinkedIn on Sunday in the evening. I love it. I love it. All right, let's move on. So let's talk about what I'm calling the new currency on LinkedIn. So likes are no longer enough, right? If we look at this pyramid, at the bottom of the pyramid is likes and impressions. And that was what a lot of us used to go for. We would go for those vanity metrics. We just would pat ourselves on the shoulder because we got a certain amount of likes, we got a certain amount of hearts. LinkedIn have said, they've put out reports and have said saves are far more valuable than likes. One save is equal, once somebody saving your post is equal to 5 likes, right? And when you think of it, a like is sending a signal that this is valuable, right? If you look in my phone, I have so many things that I've taken a screenshot of because I'm like, I need to come back to this, right? This is massively valuable. I don't have time now, but I need to come back to this. When somebody saves, that's exactly what they're doing. They are sending a signal to LinkedIn that this is valuable. So likes and impressions are at the bottom. That's not to say they're not a metric for understanding the value of what you're talking about, but they're not the be all and end all. Comments are the middle tier of this pyramid, right? So somebody taking the time to leave a value-based comment, not heart eyes, not fire emoji, not, great post. They've actually taken time to add something to the conversation, to share an insight that, carries some weight. And then, as we can see at the top of the pyramid, it is about saves, and it's about the amount of time that somebody is hanging about. And when I say hanging about, the time that it takes for them to read your post, for example. And there are different tactics that you can leverage. And I don't even like to say the word tactics because that really kind of goes against 360 brew and the algorithm. Now it's not about tactics, it is really about, if your content is relevant to the right people, they're going to read it. Right, they're going to take time reading it. So if you were to guess what type of content gets saved, right, I would hope, based on what I had said earlier, you'd be shouting out educational content, right? Educational content is what is doing well on LinkedIn, and there's different ways in which you can go about that. Those are the types of posts that get saved, they get screenshotted, they get downloaded and implemented, right? So this pyramid really shows you the new hierarchy, the new way on LinkedIn. And you can actually see, I don't know how many of you hang out in your analytics and you go and check to see this post that I put out, how many people saved it, how many people shared it. And that is giving you data as what you can and should be doing more of. A lot of us are just operating on vibes. We're not looking at the analytics, and that really is going to help you to your next steps, to what you do next. So really stop chasing likes and really go after saves. That really is where the shift is. Guys, as I'm speaking, if you've got questions, drop them in and I will hoover them up as I'm going or towards the end. So I said that I wanted you to start operating like as a professor and stop being a cheerleader. A lot of us spend so much time on LinkedIn just shaking our pom-poms and cheering and celebrating for others, which is good, right? There's I'm not gonna tell you to stop doing that, but really let's double down on teaching our expertise, teaching our zone of genius, because then the algorithm can really understand who you are and the transformation that you get. So there's a mindset shift that has to happen. Start to share like branded educational content, right? Do you have a process, a step-by-step that you could teach in a post on LinkedIn? Have you got frameworks that you could start to call out, like step by step, a numbered framework that people can actually make use of, right? Rather than storytelling, as I've said, which is nice, which is good, but I can't really do anything with it, right? So make your ideas memorable. When you share what you know and you package it in such a way that somebody can take action on, what's going to happen? They circle back. They're like, you know what? I tried that thing and I got a result. How can I work with you? How can I pay you? Right? That's the kind of next steps, guys. Please keep commenting, because then I know that you're still there and I'm not just rambling on to myself. But LinkedIn is rewarding those who are teaching on the platform, right? They are prioritizing that type of content, right? So it doesn't just want hype, it doesn't just want, or it doesn't want anymore the motivational quotes, the random ramblings. Go out and teach somebody something that they didn't know before. That is what is going to get them to stop scrolling and actually spend time with your content. What I need for you to do, because this is a planning session, so I host these sessions inside of the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. So that's my community that I host on a platform called School. There's a QR code. You can scan that, jump into the LinkedIn Strategy Lab. It's free for you to join. It's a free community. There are paid tiers depending on the levels of support that you want. If you need deeper levels of support, then upgrade to the paid tiers. But I say that to say, I'm big on setting your intentions for the week, right? A lot of us go into LinkedIn and we're scratching our heads, we're cobbling posts together minutes before. And really, the upshot of that is likely to be quite low, right? So if you plan your content, then you can even plan for a couple of posts so that it really reinforces your message, it reinforces what you're teaching, so you're not sporadically hopping between topics. So what we've got here is setting your intention. So before you post anything, right, you could do this now. You could grab a bit of paper and a pen, or your notes app on your phone, fill in the blank, right? Do this now, or mentally do it and drop it in the comments. That would be awesome. This week on LinkedIn, I want my audience to learn, fill in the blank. What is it that you want them to learn? And this is really like priming your mind so that you go into the week with the intention to teach something. You go in with the intention, all right, so there's a lead magnet, guys, that you can grab, right, on my profile. And in there, I give five frameworks. That's a bit of a tongue twister. 5 frameworks for visibility. One of the frameworks is called your obvious gold. And that framework in particular is all about the things that you know that you deem to be trivial, or you don't really think it's worthy of putting on LinkedIn. Could you teach something that seems quite foundational? You're like, oh, everybody knows this. Actually, they don't, right? So go and grab that resource, right? And in that, I take you through how you can create your obvious gold. I'm doing my air quotes, fingers in air quotes, as if you can see me. But that is how your educational content can come really easily, because you could get down a list of 20, 30 things that are really foundational things. And that's really, top of funnel content. When someone is just becoming aware of you, you need to show them what you know. My husband always says, let the dog see the rabbit. So do that. Teach them something. Ife, you've said how to leverage AI in healthcare. I love that. I love that. That is a really yeah, there's so many different intersections with AI now. And I personally haven't come across anyone on LinkedIn speaking about AI and healthcare. So yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing. Right. So what is it that you want to teach your audience? Right. Maybe you help people with creating content. So maybe it is about how to write a better hook, or maybe you want to let them know why their strategy is failing, their approach to getting a solution to their problem is failing. What is it that you want to teach? Literally, it takes a couple of seconds to decide what that is, but that sentence will become your North Star, right? For every post that you put this week, I hope you'll be thinking, what did Shalina say? Right? Teach something, teach something. And let me go in now to what, like, there's, I'm going to give anyway, 3 educational post types. There are more, but I'm just going to speak to 3. You only need 3 formats this week, because most likely you're probably not posting every day, but also there's no need to, because it really isn't about volume. It's about quality. It's about relevance. And I would prefer you do less rather than you do 7 mediocre posts, right? So the first type of educational post that you could do is a concept post. So teaching the what of what it is that you know, right? This is where you introduce an idea and you break down the concept, right? Maybe you use a numbered list or a long form of text, right? This is what keeps people reading. This is where dwell time goes up. So sharing the what, right? The second type of educational post that you could do is a framework, teaching the step by step, listing out a checklist. Maybe you use a carousel. Carousels and infographics are doing really well on LinkedIn at the moment. Think about it, a carousel that has, I don't know, 10, 15 slides, that dwell time is going through the roof, right? Because for me to scroll through, that is going to take me, I don't know, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, depending on how fast you read and how much text is on there. But also, most people are probably going to save it. When you have a carousel, they are like, I say they're like sweeties for adults. We love like infographics, carousels, things like that, that we would just save down and we're like, I'm going to come back to this. So you're getting dwell time and you're getting saves. And both of those things are signals to LinkedIn that your content is valuable. Right. So think of maybe like a 5-step plan, right? A 3 steps to listicles, right? I'm sure you guys have seen on blogs or online, there's listicles of particular things. So what could you create that goes into the hows and the steps? The Third type of content is sharing like the why, the experience, right? This type of post teaches from your lived experience with clients, with yourself, with the results that you've got, the transformations that you're able to achieve, right? It's from the trenches, it's from the day to day in the field. This is what I do, and this is the result that I get. And really, what you're doing here is soft selling, right? Because I'm sharing an experience, but really what you're picking up is, oh, this person is an expert, right? You started to sow a seed in their mind, and they start to lean in a little bit more because you're packaging your experience in a way that's compelling, and they start to think, well, if you're able to get that result for Sally, for Tim, then perhaps you could get that result for me. So these are 3 types of posts that you could put into your content plan for this week. Let me know. Let me know which of the 3 is appealing to you, which of the 3 are like, yeah, I could do that. That sounds doable and actually exciting to do and to share from your zone of genius. Who doesn't like to show up as an expert and to really share what they know? And especially if the algorithm is rewarding that, then do more of that. All right, so let's take this off because it is in the way. All right, so what I want to get into now is like how we can hook people in, right? So we're going to talk about hooks a bit, because 360 Brew, I actually really like the approach to this algorithm. I really do, right? So it's not about the old approach to hooks that were like cliffhangers or uh catfishing, clickbait. It's not that anymore, right? Really, if your post is targeted to the right people, it speaks to the right people, there's no reason why they would not click that see more button, right? So I'm sure, I'll hold my hands up, I've written those types of posts. No need to out yourself in the comments, but I can't believe that, I didn't see this before. And then, you stop and leave a line. Really, that's clickbait, and that is what the algorithm is reading and assessing and marking up that type of hook to clickbait, to catfishing, to whatever you want to call it, right? What I'm encouraging is to lead with value, right? So look at this formula here. Call out the audience, right? So I generally work with female entrepreneurs over the age of 40. So me calling them out in those first few lines, that's what the hook is, the first few lines, calling out what their problem is, right? The fact that they are afraid maybe to live stream, to show their face on camera, which is quite ironic that my camera's not working, right? I'm not afraid. You guys have seen me live many times, right? But generally that's their problem. And then the promise value would be like, I've got 3 steps to help you to overcome that problem, right, within this post. So in those first 3 lines, I'm calling out the value. There's no need to catfish people now, because when you are very clear, when you are very targeted, what happens is the right people come to your content, the right people engage, they spend longer, they leave more value-based comments, there's more conversation, it leads to discovery calls and conversations. And we all know what calls and conversations lead to. If you've been here for a while, we know it leads to cash, right? So have more of those, right? So look here, right? Maybe the hook that you call out previously was about nobody tells you this, dot, dot, dot. And then you kind of leave them on a cliffhanger. Go with the formula that you're saying quite clearly who you're speaking to, what that particular problem is you're dealing with, and how this particular content piece is going to solve that problem. Let me know, guys. There's no like heart thing here. So I don't know if you guys are still here, if you've fallen asleep, if you've gone to make a cup of tea. Let me know if you're still here. We are coming to the, yeah, I'm going to race through these remaining slides, right? But what I need you to think about is, if you saw your own feed, if you saw your own content, ask yourself, would you save it, right? If you removed yourself, zoomed out, stood back and looked at what you've been talking about on LinkedIn, looked at what you are even engaging with, what you're reposting, right? Would that be compelling for you if you were a prospect? And if not, then there's some work for you to do, right? There's some fixes, some alterations, some amendments that you need to make. Yeah, let me know. Let me know what that looks like for you. If we're being brutally honest, and as I said, if it is a no, then take the time to fix it. It literally takes, we believe, 90 days to reset the algorithm, right? So based on what you've been doing previously, if you've been using hashtags, if you've been hopping between topics, if you've been engaging with content that's not relevant, if you've been inconsistent on the platform, all of those things will determine how the algorithm moves forward with you. So over the next 90 days, there's things that you can do to reset the algorithm. However, if you now start talking about, halfway into, a month in, you start talking about something else, all of a sudden you've confused it again. And it's like, okay, we need to reset because I'm not quite sure where or who needs to receive this. I'm going to skip a few slides because I said I was going to speak for only 15 minutes and your girl has been here yibba yabbering. All right, I'm going to skip over that one. Let's talk to this one. So, how you format to increase dwell time, right? What is it that you want to do? And as I said, you could call it a tactic. I don't really like tactics given the authentic approach that we're going for, but how can you keep people longer on your content to increase that dwell time? So first of all, I spoke about carousels, right? That is one of the ways straight off the bat. If you create a carousel, people have to swipe through them to get the value from it. And, you obviously will kind of drip that value out across that carousel. People will download and save, so you're getting 2 for 1. But it sends a massive signal to the AI, when you create a carousel that is well received. Another thing that you could do is use numbered lists and white space. When you do that, right, your post it's not a wall or a block of text. Most people will see that and bounce. Most people are on their phone as well, so you have to make it scannable and skimmable. So having white space, and what happens is people will read lists to the very end, right? So lists are really good to use as a strategy to keep people on your content for longer. Another thing, bullet points, having a strong call to action, right, is going to help with exactly that. So these formats, as I said, not only increase dwell time, but they make sure that your content is distributed further. And then people return because they've got value from what you've been speaking about. So those are a few things that you can do to increase dwell time. Final slide now, guys, and then I'm going to take any questions that you have. I'm putting it in your court, right? Your move, right? I've shared, what I came on to share, what I came on to let you know. And I say in the lab, if you get to Wednesday and you've not taken any action, then you kind of lost the week, right? So we need to get started and just take action, right? Take action and take it quickly. So what is it that you are going to have done by Wednesday, right? Fill in the gap, drop it in the comments, right? So is it that you are going to, because last week we spoke about profile, and optimizing your profile. But what I will just say here in relation to 360 Brew, if your profile is not clear, if there are disconnects between your profile and your content, again, the algorithm doesn't know how to place you. So maybe you are going to go back to setting, and I probably would encourage you to do that, right? Because the profile is really the bedrock of all things. So maybe it is about updating your headline or your about section so that there is congruency across your profile. Maybe you're going to create 2 pieces of educational content. I would love for you to do that. Feel free to tag me in. I would love to see what you create. Or maybe by Wednesday, you are going to DM 5 warm leads, maybe 5 people who have commented on your content, on your educational content, to have those conversations to start to see if the solution that you have is needed by those particular individuals. So let me know what you're going to do with what you've heard, and any questions that you have. I would love to take them in the final few minutes. Please go ahead and drop them in. This has been a very different LinkedIn Live. I'm used to, and you know what, like, I can't see you, but you see me. So I guess it's only fair that, yeah, no, neither of us is seeing any of us, so that's fine. Any questions? If not, but I do want to, I always say this. I've been on lives where you're typing out your question, and then as you're just about to press enter, they end the live. So I do want to make space for you to be able to drop any questions that you have in. I can see that there are still people on. Let me know what you thought about what I shared. Let me know if you have heard of 360 Brew. Maybe you've already started to do the work to work alongside the algorithm, right? It's not about working against it. And I really do think a lot of us, we bang the drum for authenticity and we're heart-centered and heart-led and blah, blah, blah. However, we're using tactics to clickbait and catfish people. So there's already a disconnect there. So I think that this is actually a really positive move personally, but we wait and see, right? We wait and see. I can't see any questions coming through, but yeah, I'm gonna bring this to a close. Thank you so much for rocking with me on a Sunday evening. I'll be back next Sunday. Hopefully my camera and tech and all the things will be back up and running. Feel free to shoot me a DM if you have any questions. Hop into the LinkedIn Strategy Lab, scan the QR code. If you are not able to scan it because you're on the device, you're watching from the device, what I'll do is I will drop the link into the caption or the comment section for the various platforms that I am streaming across. So guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And yeah, I'm running down to catch the Married at First Sight reunion replay. All right, guys, take care.